The final score: Burton Albion 0, Wrexham 1. Big, big 3 points for Wrexham this. I know Burton started the game second from bottom and didn't have the best home record, but it's probably the wrong time to play them for a number of reasons. One of them was that they've now got a caretaker manager in charge, and he has seen a substantial improvement in their performances and results. Prior to him taking over, they'd played 15 games and only won one match out of them, which was the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, and therefore not exactly a high worth win. Since he'd taken over, he's won, coming into this match, 3 out of the 6 games he was in charge of, and also was responsible for guiding his team to a terrific win Wednesday before this match at Peterborough. So this was a Burton Albion team that, are right down the bottom of the table, but had form coming into the match. And the other big factor that weighed against us, of course, was the weather. I think everyone in Wrexham on Saturday morning assumed the game would be off. There were yellow weather warnings, and it was certainly the worst conditions I've experienced going to and from a football match. Worst conditions I think I've experienced driving in Britain. I say that Geraint Parry, the club secretary, very kindly drove me there, so thank you to him. It was a bravura job he did. It was astonishing, but it wasn't as bad on the east side of the country, and by all accounts at Burton it had been okay. I don't think there was any real thought of from them to put the game off. But the wind did massively affect the game, and Wrexham did well to dominate, considering the fact that such conditions can really level out a game. So Wrexham coming in, of course, without injured goalkeeper Callum Burton, without the suspended James McLean and George Dobson, so a bit of a reef shuffle needed. Mark Howard starting, and in replacement to the other two, Seb Revan on the left for McLean and Andy Cannon coming into midfield. And Wrexham started off with a decent level of authority, although obviously fluent football was almost impossible in these conditions. Barnett was a constant threat, and Wrexham was sensible enough to keep feeding him down that right-hand side, and he delivered some good service into the box. First real moment of danger coming in the 9th minute. Revan on the left, crowded out, surrounded by Burton players. They worked exceptionally hard. Not only was there a strong wind for Wrexham to deal with, we were kicking into the wind in the first half, but also the way that Burton were crowding us out and working exceptionally hard off the ball was making it really hard to retain possession. But Revan does really well, surrounded by Burton players. Cute little cutback for Rathbone. And of course, when a team is putting pressure on like that and working so hard, there is going to be space somewhere. And the switch was a regular weapon that Wrexham were able to use. Rathbone this time instinctively ripping the ball out to the right-hand side, where Barnett worked 2-1-2s with Cleworth. The second one, the return ball by Cleworth, was excellent, just cutting in behind the defence and sending Barnett away. He swept in a tempting ball. The keeper, Max Crocombe, just about got a fingertip on it in the goal mouth as it flashed across the face, which saved the goal because Elliot Lee was lunging in to tap it into an empty net, but at full stretch he just couldn't quite. I beg your pardon, that was the next chance. This one, Revan looks to be attacking it with purpose, and not for the last time Godwin Malif, the fullback, is able to do well to get there first and just chest it behind for a corner. The Lee opportunity comes 6 minutes later. I do apologise. And again, it's Rathbone and Barnett in the build-up. This time Rathbone works a 1-2 with Barnett and then just smashes the ball across the 6-yard box. Again, the keeper just gets something, a little fingertip on it, and that's what denies Lee, who is lunging in and can't quite reach in front of an open goal. Not many goal opportunities in the first half, understandably, in the conditions. Wrexham showing real discipline and heart and defending well. Brunt, O'Connell and Cleworth start very, very well and are immediately taking control of Bennett and Burrell, although Burrell's pace was an issue for Wrexham at times. Just after the half-hour mark was an instant that, on reflection, could have been very important. On the left-hand side, opposite to Godwin Malife, Burton had left-back Sraha, who was a massive, massive guy. He played quite well, actually, defensively and going forwards, but he could have been sent off just after the half-hour for a really late lunging challenge on Ryan Barnett. And, at the time you think, well, that's poor. It's a yellow. It's sort of strong yellow. looking back on it, I'm inclined to think it's a red, actually. You talk about a player not being in control and endangering a player. He's left the ground. I know maybe this shouldn't come into consideration, but he's a really big unit. He's got a lot of weight behind him. And he's gone through Barnett with his trailing leg, really hits Barnett hard on the ankle. Barnett's foot's on the ground, and a bit lucky, I think, they didn't get a serious injury. But it was a wild challenge, and yeah, the more I look at it, the more I think the ref was quite lenient with the yellow. Although I must say, the ref, he's a first-year ref, was really good. Actually, I think he was sensible in the conditions, and had I think a reasonable level of a tolerance for physical contact. So apart from that one decision, I thought he was really good. Don't say that very often, do I? Wrexham pushed on hard at the end of the half. Matty James was looking very composed in the conditions. Played a lovely ball down the right to send Barnett away again. He swept a good cross to the far post and picked up Revan 10 yards out. He made good contact. He decided to take it early. High volley. Made really good contact and then was up shouting for a penalty against Godwin Malife. I don't think so, but with more replay angles, I might change my mind. They don't exist, so I'm not going to change my mind. Godwin Malife jumps and turns his back, and you can't really see clearly from the pictures whether hits his arm or his back first. His arm is stretched out, but I'm not convinced. It's certainly not deliberate. I think it would have been a harsh one, let's put it that way. Meanwhile, Burton race up the other end of the pitch and nearly have an opportunity. Brunt with a slack pass for once in his own half, intercepted by Burrell, who looks like he might have the beating of O'Connell for pace as he tears alongside him. Superb tackle by O'Connell on the edge of the box to deny him going to ground and brilliantly denying Burrell a chance of a shot on goal. There was a shot on Wrexham's goal though, 4 minutes before the break. Burrell, this time the creator, on the right hand side, ripping the ball to the edge of the area where Bennett managed to pin his man and spin nicely. Struck the shot fairly well, but straight down the middle, a straightforward take for Howard. And Wrexham in the last minute of the half have the last opportunity to score. A free kick in shooting territory. Lee takes it on and drills at the goalkeeper's side. Crocombe starts moving behind his wall and then realises and corrects himself. The shot goes just wide of the post. I think Crocombe had recovered quickly enough to have it covered, but it was a very good effort by Lee. Into the second half, and Wrexham start with a renewed energy and are really forcing Burton back. The wind is behind us now. It wasn't that much of a sort of handicap in terms of giving benefits one side or the other, but Wrexham really use it in the second half. O'Connell plays a great ball over the top for Lee running in the left channel, and it's a magnificent first touch by Lee, but brings it down, and all of a sudden he's in the box with a clear sight of goal. He hits the shot early, but Godwin Malife's done ever so well to get in and just get a touch to it to deflect it behind for a corner. And that corner is a portent of what's to come. Wrexham now with our first corner of the second half of the wins behind us, and Lee rips it in onto the roof of the net, which might not have seemed all that significant at the time. It is significant when we get to how Wrexham score the goal, because when you look back at this when it lands up on the net, there's a couple of things to point out with it. One is, Lee might be trying to use the wind and drop it in under the bar. He may be trying to score. And secondly, Crocombe's fine. It lands on the roof of the net and he jumps and grabs hold of his bar. But when you look back at it and ask yourself, okay, if that had been just the right side of the line, would he have got back to cover it? It's a borderline call. It would have been a tip over, certainly not a catch. So, the seeds were laid there for Wrexham's winner. But Wrexham continue to be on top and have a really good spell of pressure around the hour. Burton are penned in and just can't get out. We make a couple of half chances, nothing more than that during that period, but it really is a story of Wrexham getting on top now, looking for the win. Cleworth punching a good ball over the top. Crocombe sprints off his line decisively. He doesn't get there, but it's important he does, because Palmer has made a terrific run in to out, and he's in the right channel. Keeper comes to him and just forces him wide. Good decision making by Crocombe. Saves the shot. It ricochets out to Cannon, and of course Crocombe now, having raced out to the side of his goal has left the posts completely unattended. Unluckily for Wrexham, the ball just doesn't drop kindly for Cannon to be able to hit an early shot. By the time he's retrieved it, defenders were in his way anyway. He squares it to Rathbone. Crocombe's back in position now, and Rathbone's shot is pulled. Soon afterwards, more good pressure. Again, it's James prompting. Again, it's Barnett delivering into the box. This one's headed away. Rathbone meets it with a stinging shot, which is blocked in the goal mouth. But a breakthrough comes in the 64th minute, and as I alluded to, it's direct from a corner. Elliot Lee with an in-swinger, steps up, puts it beyond the keeper. It hits the far post and drops into the net. Quite entertaining looking back, seeing Seb Revan, who was desperately trying to get on the end of it from outside the far post, and looked like at one point he was going to actually head the far post as he tried to get to it. But Wrexham would take a deserved lead. The key thing about this, I feel, is understandably, Burton afterwards were saying, it was a free goal. And I take that point. I think I'd say the same. But in commentary with me, Andy Morrell was quite right to point out that Wrexham played the percentages. It's not a freak. It's us doing things right and Burton maybe not. Because we're playing with the wind, and so all our corners are in-swingers, trying to drop it on the keeper and cause him problems. Until added time, all Burton's corners were away swingers. And Howard didn't really have to deal with anything. And so I think Andy Morrell is right. It's an odd goal, but it's born from Wrexham actually having a bit more of a game plan and thinking through about the conditions, maybe a touch more than Burton did, and we benefit because of that. Mullin and Fletcher were ready to come on before the goal. Phil Parkson had a rethink, but did throw Fletcher on a couple of minutes later, replacing Palmer, who again put in a great shift. There were some chances for Burton soon after that. Kalinauskas on the left-hand side. I would argue wastes an opportunity initially because he's got loads of time to measure across, and for some weird reason he does a funny little trick on the ball. But no one's near enough to be fooled by it, and he ends up crossing it in with his right foot, the foot that the ball was on in the first place. It wasn't that he didn't have players in the box and had to delay. I'm not quite sure what he was up to. So by the time he delivers it, it's not a great cross because he's allowed a defender to get to him. But it manages to go under Andy Cannon's foot as he looks to intercept, and falls for Gilligan. And inside the box in a pretty central position, he turns and hits the shot, which is well blocked. It comes back out to Elliot Watt, and he hits a powerful shot from outside the D, and that is well blocked as well. Wrexham, just you feel dropping a little deeper and inviting a little bit of pressure on ourselves after scoring the goal. Certainly Phil Parkinson was eagerly trying to tell his team, don't just hit it away, pass it out from the back, because we were starting to get a bit penned in, although we defended very comfortably, and Howard was good in the air as well when required. We made a double change, with Elliot Lee replaced by Paul Mullin and Andy Cannon getting a break, Tom O'Connor coming on against his old team, and he nearly scored the most remarkable goal with 8 minutes left. A free kick in midfield on the right-hand side. O'Connor stands it up with height, which is relevant. He's clearly looking for someone to head it at the far post, and when you look at the replay, at first it looks like it's going to drop on the edge of the box, but the wind catches it because of its height, and it curls viciously. And Crocombe has to readjust, scramble back, and just about gets a fingertip on it to tip it over, or it was headed into the top left corner, and Wrexham would have had a second, unusual, shall we say, set-piece goal. If Burton felt a little unfortunate at the nature of the goal and that chance, they could have no complaints if Wrexham had scored 3 minutes from the end with what I can only describe as a period of madness in their penalty area. It all starts off with Barnett on the right-hand side, sweeping the ball in. Fletcher has got a really difficult take in the box, and he manages to do it, but he can't face goal now because of the way he's had to bring it down. So he juggles it beautifully and then feeds it out to Revan, who it's a powerful goal-bound shot deflected behind for the corner. The fun is only just beginning. The corner is swept in by Rathbone. It's headed away, but Barnett drills in a shot from outside the box, which is deflected and falls perfectly for Fletcher at close range. He smashes it inside the 6-yard box. It's got to be a goal. And it isn't, because Max Crocombe keeps it out. I've got to be honest, I as a goalkeeper, I like sticking up for goalkeepers. I always felt if someone's one-on-one with me and I make them shoot wide, I've made a save because I've got the angles right. If the ball hits you because your positioning's good, you deserve a lot of credit. This one, though, I don't feel I should. Crocombe runs at him, but then sort of almost jumps, turning his back to get out the way, almost like he doesn't want the ball to hit him. And bizarrely, the shot hits the one point where it won't be a goal. It hits Crocombe's dangling leg. Really don't think he spread himself. He's just jumped to get out of the way almost, and it hit his foot, and it ricochets away. The madness will continue. The ball comes out to the edge of the area, where it is driven in by Rathbone. The shot is blocked. It comes back out to Matty James, and he plays a lovely little calm pass in the midst of the storm, passing it through the crowd to Mullin, who is all on his own in front of goal. It looks a certain goal, especially when Crocombe commits too soon. So he goes down to his left. Mullin hasn't hit the ball yet. So Mullin's got half the goal to aim for, and he puts it that direction, but Crocombe's trailing leg stops it. Unbelievable. How neither of those chances went in. Utterly, utterly astonishing. And the ball is cleared, and Wrexham win a free kick. And from that free kick, O'Connor rips the ball into the near post. Rathbone, a bit like that first goal he ever scored for Wrexham at the Cop end, manages to stoop in front of his marker, but it really hasn't really got a sight of goal. It's 6 yards out with the defenders blocking the view of goal, and in trying to get the ball past him, he heads it wide. We have nervy moments right at the end. Probably Burton's best moment, to be honest, comes in the 90th minute. A long ball forwards, Barnes nods it on well. It's helped on nicely by Whitfield, and Srahad, left back, is barrelling into the box, and about 15 yards out in the left channel smashes an on-target shot. Cleworth as well to block it behind. Then comes that one corner they play in as an in-swinger, and it's the one time they trouble us from a set piece. It goes across the face, nobody can get contact, and Owen O'Connell gets rid of the far post. And Wrexham have won, and it's hard fought, but my word, those points are precious. In those conditions, anything could have happened. Wrexham, though, showed a lot of grit and valour and were able to come through with the win. Looking at the performances, well, kudos to Mark Howard. That's the last sort of weather conditions a goalkeeper wants, and he's there making his first league start in a long time. And he was very good. He was calm. He was good on the ball when he used it. They didn't give him much to do in the air, which, again, I think is a tactical error from Burton. What he did have to do, he did well. He handled a free kick, which was awkwardly floating to the far post well, punching it out and starting a breakaway. He decided, I think, the experience of Howard early on, he's not going to try and catch it because it's swirling in the wind. So, yeah, he had a good, solid game, Howard. The three centre-backs, well, all of them did exceptionally well. Brunt was good carrying the ball out from the back. We don't want to knock it long into the wind. Brunt did well carrying it like that and made some important challenges around the edge of the box. O'Connell, again, was excellent. I think just about, again, making man of the match. Barnes was the main... Burrell was the main threat, running through the middle with his pace. O'Connell handled him very well. And, again, was dominant in the air, wasn't allowing anything that was not long to come past him. So really impressive. Plus, of course, as ever, he used the ball well, and in these conditions, it's crucial that you play out from the back. And Cleworth as well. Once again, very strong, very solid, had no real alarms at the back. The wing-backs, Barnett was very good. Got, as I said, a succession of service into the box on the right-hand side. On the other side, Revan didn't get many chances to drive forwards, and Burton were more effective at crowding him out than Barnett. In fact, in some ways, it was almost a decoy to the left-hand side. We'd get the ball over there, Burton come across, and we were switching, and Barnett was getting all the space. But he put in a solid shift, made one very good defensive header when Godwin Malife tried to get on the end of a far post cross. And yeah, had a good game, solid game. In the centre of midfield, Matty James again, a cool head in the frantic conditions, was really very good on the ball, winning challenges, getting forward and having a couple of pops at goal as well. No, he looked good, very good. Either side of him, Cannon and Rathbone, they're the sort of players you want in these conditions, aren't they? They were just scrapping and fighting for everything. They both did really well. Cannon, as ever, had some nice combinations with Barnes. Rathbone was getting into good crossing and shooting positions and had a couple more, apart from the mentioned blocks. So those two, with their energy, were really, really impressive. And then up front, well, Elliot Lee playing off the main striker again, scores the goal. Had another good creative game, finding space and prompting as well, and had to roll his sleeves up and join in the midfield battle. And up front, Palmer, excellent. I mean, his running was really good. He was tireless. He was winning a lot of headers. And again, Palmer really is playing well. The goals aren't really coming for him, but the work he's doing for the team is terrific. And lots of defensive headers from set pieces again. Great stuff from him. Looking at the subs, Fletcher came on for Palmer, and he really did do a bit of a show reel of some of his lovely touches. It was some of the things he attempted were such class. He's such a good footballer, and he caused them problems and should have scored. So crazy save by Crocombe, and then moments later Mullin, of course, who came on, who again worked extremely hard, should have scored, but another crazy save by Crocombe. But yeah, Mullin also showed a lot of energy. O'Connor came on in midfield and kept things ticking over for the 10 minutes. Good fresh legs. Overall, excellent win. Excellent win in horrible conditions against a side that were fighting for their lives. Those are the sort of 3 points that get you somewhere at the end of the season. With a final score of Burton Albion 0, Wrexham 1, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.